So just as fast as I'm in, I'm out. That's like a 20-cent hit right there. Nothing worried about that. I don't want to go long right now because I haven't really sat here and analyzed anything.
Market's at the high. That's
just came back. Yeah, you know what? That's a funny thing, Neil, that you say that because honestly, highs haven't really mattered. Like breakout highs have been good because the market's continued. Now, I don't know if I believe.
Well, you know, my problem is, you're talking about I was reviewing the future, so obviously I am abreast of some of the levels that Arun had, but another trader on our floor, or former trader on our floor, was talking a lot about 41.6 as a big level on the ES, and I know a lot of people have been talking about it here too. Now, Arun says 41.75, so he thinks there's 15 points worth of room on the ES up here, but it's tough to take a breakout long when a stock has gone this parabolic. Look, man, I had a 194 target on Facebook. I didn't think it was getting 200 today. But we're here anyways. It's just tricky because where's your risk to reward? You can do that really tight stop trade maybe and then just try to scalp it. But it's been a crazy, crazy run here. There's no way I'm going to see 200 and not make a play at it. I mean, if Tesla got to 800, I'd probably have made the exact same trade. But it looks like it is trying to put a bit of a fail break on, which usually means I'm going to jump back into it, which I always do.
I don't know what we want to talk about now, but I mean, I have lots of trades on if we're talking about big cap tech or anything like that. We'll just throw it over to Brendan, but yeah, what a crazy day. You can even see I'm $3 in the money right now on AMD as well, and that's part of that game. Like me and Brad were talking about going long at 105. It's huge now, 109 right now for AMD. These stocks are going nuts here, Brendo.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit coming up here, guys, on bear market rallies. What a good day to do a little piece on bear market rallies, because is this one of those? We'll see. GameStop. We discussed GameStop right out of the gate this morning because that was the biggest earnings play that happened after market yesterday. Ends up being dragged along with I mean, begrudgingly dragged along with the overall market here. 8%. Remember, market's at day highs here. GameStop, not so much. But, I mean, a nice day, don't get me wrong, was up 10% early on.
Yeah, well, there is something that isn't at the high. It is GameStop. Now, I had one level I cared about for GameStop at the open, and it was 120. And when it started failing that level, it wasn't a blowout report, great or bad in either direction, realistically. So you really just had to play off the level, and it was at 120 from yesterday. So it was a short until it broke that level at the open. Then it was a reversal to the long. We had the long into 25s. We then did the 130 break. That got to this 134 high. And then you got a double top when the market made its high. And then I was basically just playing off of that. And if you go back, to yesterday, the afternoon spike, you also had the same 133 as a wick top. So once it failed there once, and I saw it fail break that, I said, okay, well, let's just start shorting that level because that's the only trade to be had. Like if you're not, as a day trader, if you're not usually holding on to that long, maybe you could have bought that little dip there like I was buying Tesla dips, but if you're not holding on to that long, you got to look for the next trade. Just like it ended up being Facebook 200, that didn't work out. It did work out off this 134 level. I'm not still sitting in it because it capitulated, then found a bid at 130. And the second I saw that happen again, this is right at 2 o'clock, pretty much right when we came on air. Like it failed the first time, it just bounced on a dime off 130. And once it did that again, I said, forget it. I'm just going to take that out because it's too bullish here. So I'm now out of GameStop. AMC had some similar moves. It broke 13 even, which was pretty strong. I think it was just a sympathy thing with AMC today. Well, I mean, the entire market was really strong, but I just really had the 13 break and nothing else. And this happened when GameStop was giving you a boost. Even though it started out with no volume pre-market on GameStop, once it opened up, it had some catching up to do, and it did.
That's hilarious. Like, let's just go bang on this one. Forget about GameStop for now. Neil just covered that. I didn't trade it at all. We just went long Facebook because I was just like, enough is enough on this one. It's like I'm long $200.20, and it's just like, okay. And I put this on 3 minutes ago or 2 minutes ago, and it just keeps on going to the upside. And I know we were just talking about breakouts, and I was like, you know what? Breaking highs have just been working all day anyways, so tried to follow my own rule there. Took some out in the 70s. 63. We just got some out there off this long, so that's continuing to work as well. But yeah, GME, AMC, look, a little disappointing today, obviously, off that report. There wasn't anything so exciting early. We talked about how it was, 56,000 shares or something by the time like 9:20 hit. So not too much there. But yeah, crypto's still going back to the upside. The NASDAQ right now just keeps on climbing. So I'm excited to start to talk about these next little bit. Chewy coming up there, Brendo, the high of the day.
Yeah, it was testing high of day, not so much anymore, but another one, guys, looking really, really good this afternoon, 23, 24%, depending on when you look at it. But I mean, it gave you a nice flush off the open. After that, it's been nothing but back to the upside for Chewy off earnings.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot. I mean, everything sold off at the open, and it was one of those like crazy flush outs. And sometimes when that happens, if you get back above your support and the break prices, you should re-engage in some of the longs. I was looking at Tesla maybe too much because I was in the pre-market because it was above this 27 quarter area, and then with a break at 28. And you can see the upside of the channel here that I wanted to see it hold above, right? Like it's a bit of a range top, but once it was breaking out on decent earnings, not great, but decent. In terms of at least not having that loss, this unexpected profit. The guidance wasn't great. But once it got back above that price the second time, that's when it was clean sailing. And there's a big difference between pre-market and post-market. This is around lunchtime when it finally reclaimed those same levels. So instead of winning, then losing, essentially you could have just come in and taken that break, which got you to 29.50. I don't think it was a mistake to have been trading Tesla at that time or trading some names that were a little bit stronger. But it does give you the notion that, if levels get violated in the morning and you get these wipeout bottoms and you're looking for a place to get back in, well, just jump right back to your significant levels from before because quite clearly, they were pretty good. It just took until the market showed some strength for them to become valid again. It's now pulling back. I'm not sure I see a trade in Chewy. The volume really tapering off now. So this might be done for the day, but certainly, even with a mixed report, sometimes things are beaten up and they got a short interest and they have a chance to rally with everything else. Because there's some impressive names overall, but most of the big ones over that 10%, for the most part, unless you're AMD, are some of the most beaten up names over the last little bit, or the short interest names that have had the biggest rallies today.
Yeah, so Facebook, I mean, believe it or not, we're out of that trade, so that was fast. We got a third out there at 63, another third out there at 85, and then we just got some out for flat when it broke back down. Like I had the 25 offer there. Unfortunately, now it's at 50, so we just cost ourselves 25 cents, but we're out of that one. Look, Chewy for me was pretty easy. It's a positive stock for me, but it's only easy because I got a great fill up here. Well, actually, not really. I mean, that's actually, it was another stock that I got the great fill in. But here we go. We talked about this early on Chewy. We liked it. It was the number one stock there. It was 4 cents versus minus 14. So a nice surprise to the upside. But we do understand. I mean, we talked about this right here. 24% short flow, right? So watch out. Sales up, 24% short float. If the base of 27.50 broke, then we wanted the short, right? So this is what I'm trying to do a little bit better. Here's 27.50, here's the short. We cashed it out. Believe it or not, I have a 25.90 fill here. So short, out at 27 flat. You saw me take that on the show. And then it tanked off the open. We got out. Then it tries to break back above 27.50. We get out at 27.40. And then the move happens to the upside. So, we kind of called this by the fact that we identified the short float, but didn't take enough advantage by going long. And there's a few things here on the sticky note that we've talked about. And thank you for watching the show, by the way. The one missed trade for me is this SOXL. I have 24.50 going long right now on SOXL, and that, of course, is the semiconductors triple levered long. Watch where this thing is right now. Obviously, as the market blows up, it's 24.50 long. It's right here, and it was a little bit of consolidation, so we picked the right spots, just no clean break. But when it started to go, wow, AMD and the rest of them up 9.5% today. SOXL to the rescue for some of these semis, man.
A dollar winner. So it's all different styles. Like that was definitely scalpable in this range. If I zoom in on my 3-minute, you'll see it's like, oh yeah, for sure. Like you could have been playing off this range the whole time, but that trade off of the size and the games I was seeing, I just wanted to play it a different way, and that's why I was sitting in that the entire time. It has gone through the high of the day, so I'm now out.
Lots of opinions this week on bear market rallies. We'll talk about what to expect going forward here and whether or not this is something that will continue, will hold, and is there a bottom in already, guys? Here's just one opinion this week. Yeah, Bloomberg giving a warning, saying, yeah, don't chase bears in a forest, I guess, or something along those lines. I mean, the message, obviously, guys, you have to be careful of the fact that in a bear market, which we are in, the NASDAQ, anyways, still in a bear market, rallies get sold. Historically, if you go back in time, that is the message. So has the all clear been given for this current rally?
I mean, for me, If you're saying current rally, meaning it's a relief rally, then sure, like relief rallies are going to happen and they'll be spectacular. And the reason that they're spectacular is 50% from their highs. Well, the stock goes from $100 to $25, right? It's been absolutely crushed. And if that happens in 1 year, and then in 1 month the stock goes up like 30%, let's even say, even 50%. Like that 50% up is 37.50. Like that is still 60% down from those highs. It's just simple math, right? So they'll always seem impressive. And the truth be told, you will have in every single time we've hit bear market, just about bear market territory, you will have had 20% rallies and then fresh lows, and then 20% rallies and then breaking the lows over again. So, we just got QT coming in from the Fed, which is, obviously the quantitative tightening, which is a new phenomenon from 9 billion to 6 billion. That's likely to weigh on the market in the second half of the year. So I don't think that the all clear is in. If you just think about where the SPY is right now, sure, you have another nice little bounce exactly at this 380 level. You've pulled back a nice little 10%. Could we go 20? I mean, that's what it would take to get us to the 200 period moving average. We're not even at the 50 period here. So the trend is still pretty clear to the downside, but it's a spectacular rally. There's no question about it. You're just likely to see these types of things. And at the beginning of QT, I don't think that that's a time to be like, oh yeah, everything's fine. We're going to go back to all-time highs. It seems highly unlikely to me at this point. But you have to enjoy these rallies while they can, and they're great trading vehicles, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, look, I feel like the bottom could possibly be an answer to your question. I mean, I feel like we just had some unemployment numbers come through. There's no problem on that side of things. Obviously, the big worry is going to be on inflation. And so if that can get controlled, then we'll have a different story coming through. And maybe the Fed, turns a little bit dovish from that if inflation gets under control. We know this is like the first time that many of us have even been in a rate hike environment. So yeah, like get ready for some slippage coming up here. But the one thing I want to talk to you guys about is like, if you really think that, the bottom's in, or I don't know, it's getting close, I really feel like you just got to go over to names that you trust. And like AMD has just been such a rally. When the market wants to go up, it goes up pretty hard. So I just want to show you like some names. Oh, shoot. I'll have to zoom in a little bit more to show you this. But like this goes all the way back here. This is September. Like where we are right now, like it's taking out these highs right now, but we only really went down and just broke a little bit lower than where we were back in September of 2021. So right now we're just in June of 2022. Like this move down hasn't really even happened yet. Like if you want to talk about, possibly, I mean, we can look at a lot of different stocks. Apple would be another one. Neil talked about the NASDAQ or the S&P there, looking at some levels. But again, if you look at an Apple chart, like does this look that bearish really? I mean, from the top, sure, fine. 180, 182, first $3 trillion company, yada, yada, yada. It made moves down, but it only really just went down to 138. Again, back where we were back in October, September of that 2021. You're going to have to zoom back even further than that to see some real damage. Like even if you go back to May of 2021, that's $122. So what I'm trying to get at here is this the bottom? I feel like it may have been because we tested so many times and now we're back up. If the Fed doesn't do anything dramatic, like change their course, they've sort of already given to us what they're going to be doing. So I really feel like, although there's been nice rallies here, we just ended, 7 straight weeks of downward moves in the S&P to finally finish up last week. So I'm wondering if there's a little bit of a tide turn. Could we see lower bottoms? Maybe. But I'm feeling like a move back in a stock like Apple, by the higher quality, back like into 138. That's where I was buying, 137 right there. And I'm feeling like even a move back down here to 120 still really isn't the end of the world, right? The NASDAQ, a bear market down 20% or more. So we have that. So are we in one? Yes. Are we coming out of it? Yeah, I feel like we are. It's a little naive to say we've seen the bottom, but the worst days of some of these stocks going from like, you look at a Square, you look at some of these names like Affirm and these other names that are getting absolutely killed. I really feel like how much more downside is there going to be? It's going to have to be from Apple and from Microsoft and some of these big stocks that have held the weighting up on these markets. And I just don't see that happening right now. So we're going to still hold long, look to pick up some good value names and sort of stay away from those lower quality ones.
At the end of the day, price tells the truth, and a lot of these stocks are responding very positively to a continued narrative, guys, from the Fed, suggesting that their timeline, at least, is going to be on the longer end. They are prepared to sit on their hands and wait and see and act accordingly, but the market is still acting very, very positive. Was that the bottom? Only time will tell. I wanted to mention Boeing here real quick before we move on. Another one having a huge day, guys, up 7% for Boeing. There was a monster volume spike there that just happened at 140, the price, obviously not time, 140. Some stops maybe got run there on Boeing, but another one with a huge day.
Oh, don't trap me into... I know, like it probably like a big block could have gone through there because usually you see it move a little bit. Like I saw it go through that 140 level. It only got to like 14s on that break. So it has every sort of, I guess, indication of a bit of a wick off top there. And I look at it on the 15-minute, and you'd say like it is trying to sustain a breakout at next level. On the daily chart, it is trying to sustain a breakout on the daily as well. And that's more like 139, let alone 140. So I'm a little hesitant because I would have expected just to see a little bit bigger of a move to the upside as it broke 140 on that kind of volume. And then you'd have like a bigger wick top, and then you'd just be shorting off the high of the day. So I'm going to stay away from that. Like I feel like if that had spiked up to like 140.30 or 140.40, then that would actually mean that there were some longs that got trapped up there. It just feels like maybe a block print went off at 140. It's these round numbers that can get a little bit tricky. But yeah, strong day for Boeing like everything else.
All right, so right now, Boeing, we could talk about Boeing. You just talked about that a little bit there. The Kramer bottom was what, 123 or so? I don't even know, what is it at? Oh, okay, so it's not even close right now. There's people that are trading the inverse Kramer index, and I believe, and we'll have to find out what day it was, but Jim Cramer got everybody out of this one. I thought it was like 120 or 130, so sorry about that, minions, if you're following that. That guy maybe is dangerous, but we'll see here what goes on. Look, we all make bad stock picks. I mean, PayPal was one of his as well. I'm long Palantir. You guys know
13th,
that.
I think.
The 13th it was for him?
I think.
What day was that? 13th. Yeah, so that's right. Yeah, so right in here. Yeah, that's what. Yeah, I thought it was 129. So that's about right. Yeah, 128, 129. So up to 140 there. Stock picking is a hard game, man. That's why I was saying about getting into SMH as something, and I actually changed up my strategy. I told you guys this: buying the Qs, buying ZEO like the XLE instead of individual oil names, things like that. This is a stock picker's market if you can find the right names. They're hard to find. Like, Boeing had some crazy bad news, and then today, and I'm long Boeing as well. Like, I'm long Boeing somewhere up here. So that hasn't been working out. I'm long all these names pretty much that I'm talking about. I'm a long only trader in the long-term account. I don't trade it with any options or anything like that. Okay, so I just said right now that we were short Microsoft, and I don't know. This name's obviously had its bottoms there today. We've been a monster. It's my number one stock here. We're just going to go a half position on this short. If it takes out 273.50, we're gone. I just feel like the NASDAQ there was starting to dance a little bit. I wanted to take something on in case we broke down through this level. We tried it there. We talked about that earlier, and then we just did it right now. This is, again, a 1-minute chart, so we just tested it 3 minutes ago to the downside. I need to be short something in case this move does happen. I just feel like the NASDAQ has been way overextended again today, and I feel like tomorrow might be bearish a little bit. I don't really have any reason for that. It's just this has been such a strong move to the upside. I wonder if there is going to be a little bit of profit taking. A name that's really surprised me. I mean, AMC, first of all, nice trading today for sure for AMC. We got long here early and we were able to get out. It just didn't go when it broke this 1325, but it did go up to 1350, and right now it's hovering around. I just bring it to everyone's attention because we've bounced off 13 a couple times. So if you want to, I'm thinking about taking positions here that, might have a chance to sort of move more aggressively here into the close, and maybe that's just going to be the long side. I looked at this chart and sort of said there was so much room to come down that might be a possibility here. And I also think that Apple, which has been strong, I mean, we were short. It blew up to the upside. We were able to get some nice longs, and then we hit the short again through 150. We did this live on the show. We're positive on Apple today. We just got out when it took down that 150. But look at this. It's bounced off 150 a bunch of times here. Apple, weaker than the market. It should be just as strong as the market. It's not, so it's weaker, right? So we're taking a note of that. If the market comes down, which it doesn't look like it's going to, so I may not have a trade here, but I actually like the 150 breakdown of Apple. We're in it. Our average prices here is 20. So we're going to get I mean, we're out of the money right now, 13 pennies. If this goes up another 10 pennies, we're out at 271.50, 273.50. So that's going to be a mistake taking the short. But again, we don't want to push the trigger here on Apple until it hits 150 to the bottom. So if it takes that down, this is the name that I want to be short. So we're long Palantir, we're long Square, we're short Microsoft, but again, definitely understanding that this one might not be for a long time here. It's a half position for me. We talked about that. It's a little more than half because we just got some more shares there. But here it comes back down. We're now flat on this trade. I like Microsoft short just because of the extended move and the news, but really my play is going to be Apple taking that 150 if it does happen. You're going to have to wait for it.
Yeah, just going to quickly show you guys Tesla. I did say that I was shorting 790 in Tesla a little bit earlier, and it's not anywhere near that price, but it just turned over at 788, close enough to it. And because I can't have that, I'm going to go back over to NEO. Now, I understand, like we're essentially long NEO off that 18 break, but when I look at this getting to yesterday's top, or close to it, that 19 even, we're at a pretty key level there. So I wanted to have something that I was at resistance, and because Tesla had rolled over, I decided NEO defined risk trade to that high of the day, and then see if we can just play off that. So I am now in NEO. I'm holding IMMX from earlier, and you'll see I do trade buyouts on the side, and this CERN is gonna, I'm just spread trading the stock. So don't look at it. It's literally, it's useless unless you can just sit there for a rebate or something like that, or try and catch some spread. The deal is gonna be closing soon, so it's really not gonna move. Another stock which is back toward its high of the day is Facebook. So you see the ES testing these tops. We just showed you NEO, Tesla coming off the highs, but Facebook about to test that 201 area once again. So if it makes a double top, that could be worth it to get back in.
Yeah, Facebook's one of my more recent. Come on, Softy, bring it.
GameStop.
Bring it, like where the Rock, bring it right there as Austin 316, of course. But there it comes down in here. I don't know. We just got a bid there at 06. Again, just ahead of this 50 period, ahead of 273. Let's hope this comes back in now. Like I said, we almost had a full position. That fill there at 40 or 36, whatever, giving us an average price now of 22. So it was just 20 cents of the money, nothing to write home about. But this is a good short for me. Let's see if we can hold this. It is risky because of this move, and we're not even breaking. Normally, I don't like to go short unless we're underneath the 50 period here. But again, we've averaged into it. Normally we don't do three averages like that, so close to each other, but they were just like kind of small pieces. And then obviously as the NASDAQ moves back in here, we're going to try to hold on to something before so we can get that short. Here comes the trade for Apple. Do you see where the 50 period is here at 150.50? So I think we can give this about 50 cents. I mean, I don't want to, this to break that 50 level and then it just say, nope, thank you very much, and go right back to the upside. It's done that a couple times today where it hit levels and then bounced off there, including 149. It breaks 149, goes to 149.20, then comes right back to 148.50 before getting back to the upside. So let's see if Apple can take this down right now. And there's Softy, like it just went to 273 flat and all the way back up. I have a feeling that this short might not be the short that I want it to be. So I'm definitely looking more at Apple here.
I mean, Apple's at a good level. Actually, I was looking at Microsoft too. That's why I was sort of asking. It's a Microsoft one you're talking about, right? Because like Softy, it's at the level that it fell from like this morning. Like that's pretty much it. Like 274. So if you're going to short off a level, there's really not much else that you're going to be looking at here. I'm now kicking myself. I should have tried GameStop just now. I was watching GameStop, and I covered it at 130, and then it got right back up, got to 134.97, so right up to the 135 and pulled back. So that was a scalpable trade, but I'm not going to chase this move down. At this point, this could be taking out the top. And I said above 120 I'd be long, but once you start getting into the parabolic moves and making those types of highs, I then start to play into the short side of the trade. It's just usually the way that we go about doing it. And if it does clear, There's a lot of room here still. I mean, the 200 period moving average on the GameStop, not that it matters, is 150. But the last significant level, I guess, to the upside, in my head, I had 138.80, but I guess it is this 140 level clean from a few days ago. But guess what? We have options expiration next week, tomorrow because it's Friday, and we have our options expert as our Thursday guest. You guys should be excited because Brendan is with Danielle Shea.
In fact, yeah, VP of Options at Simpler Trading, Danielle Shea, back with us once again for a take on another exciting week. Great to see you as always, Danielle. I'm just watching the market. This buy program is relentless right now. It just won't stop. Back to the upside. Let's talk about the overall market to kick things off here. I mean, we've been saying over the past couple of weeks, you know, it's a bear market. Bounces typically get sold. Somehow, yet this feels different the past couple of days. What are you thinking?
Well, you know, right here now, what we were seeing over the course of just the past few days anyways, is we started to see a little bit of a pause. And then finally, yesterday, the put-call ratio started rising again. People were getting short just in time for us to break above a previous high. So we're just seeing another short squeeze here again today. Checking out the put-call ratio and seeing where it's at right now. I mean, we are currently sitting at about 7.75. It was up at a high of about, let's see, I think it was about 0.95 right here on my charts earlier this morning. So once you get up to a level around 0.95, I mean, there's just too many shorts in the market and any kind of reason is going to cause them to cover. So at this point, they're covering. We're going to see how long that lasts and then if we can get short again.
It's an interesting move, nevertheless, in the sense that there's been so much negativity, so many stocks getting beaten down right across the board. We've talked about many of them with you. A lot of those today catching quite the bid. I mean, we can talk about Block, we can talk SQ, obviously, we can talk about Datadog's up 20%. Like all of those, I don't want to call them pandemic stocks because there's so many of them now that have just been crushed. But what's your thought here when we get those 20% plus kind of days on individual stocks specifically?
Well, you know, it definitely makes them great to day trade because we're seeing this big momentum coming into some of these stocks. And I mean, it hasn't really lasted as far as a swing trade basis, but they've still been good for day trades right here, especially with Datadog. And I mean, I like Datadog. It's a good company. I own shares. I like the cloud computing sector, and I also like the cybersecurity sector. And when you look at, Hack, the cybersecurity ETF, it looks like it's trying to break out here. So, I mean, I would love to see a sustainable move higher in this space. Right now, for me, it's just a one-day move. Definitely can trade it, but I'm still cautious as far as it being a longer-term move higher.
Well, let's go to the big one then from last night, GameStop with earnings. So many people with so much attention, obviously, on GameStop. Give me your thoughts here going into last night, and what do we do with this thing now?
So going into GameStop earnings last night, especially as an options trader, it had a really high implied volatility, about 300%. And that was pricing in about a $20 move. And so generally what happens is those options are incredibly juicy. They're very high priced. The earnings report comes out and the price of those options tanks. And so at this point, what you have is you have the fact that, number one, this ticker is actually moving higher after earnings, which it never does. And then you have the fact that the pricing of the options has come down substantially. So at this point, I think it's great to trade it. Yesterday, I was talking about selling options on this ticker because they were so expensive. But at this point, I mean, it's holding up well. It's holding up above 120. I mean, I think you could probably trade it up into 140, 150.
Let's talk oil here as well. I mean, it's one of those things when there's so many other things going on in the market on a day like today. The GameStops, the AMCs tend to take a bit of a backseat. Very volatile, back above 115. We get, OPEC coming out today saying all the right things as far as increasing production and output going forward into the end of June and into July. From a market as a whole, what are your thoughts here on oil? And then is there one or two maybe individual names that you still like heading into the summer months?
So, oil definitely been very strong. It's been the relative strength area all year. So, I mean, anybody who has energy stocks, I mean, I personally would keep holding them. That's just what I would do. And I want to keep trading oil to the upside, but I do want to do it in a conservative way just because it is so extended. The only stock in the energy space that I was really looking at was Chevron, and that's because it has actually pulled back a little bit, not very much. That's my main problem with all the energy stocks right here. Chevron has some consolidation right here on the 8 EMA. You're sticking right around that 175 price point. I would like to target 180 and then 185 on it. But I do want to be careful with these because I always hate buying something right when it's right up near an all-time high.
Hey, Danielle, how's it going? Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you as well.
Well, we're short Microsoft here, and it's starting to go to the downside. And I actually want to talk to you about it. I'm trying to find the article that was printed here today because I don't know if you saw that this morning, but Microsoft had a little bit of a dump down. Here it is on a re-guidance. I don't know this website. I've never really heard of it. Something BC here. I don't know what this is. But Microsoft lowers fourth quarter guidance, citing unfavorable foreign exchange rates. So I know you're the queen of options, but when you see a name like this come through, for us here, it's easy because we're live. We're trading, we're active, and I even remember I had to Neil was doing a little segment on the futures, and I was like, no, wait a second, something just happened with Microsoft, and here's the move. If you look at my screen here, guys, a big move to the downside, and then we sat here. I noticed the bottom. We went long here at 261. Our best out is right here at the 50 period, 266.50. So a nice little $5 win. But is this a name where that you kind of look at, regardless of what your thought is on the long-term prospects here in the market, when you see like a headline like that, or yesterday when we had that with Meta, the same thing with Sheryl Sandberg stepping down, is that something where all of a sudden maybe like you were saying, the implied volatility, maybe the cost of options gets too blown out of control when that kind of stuff happens? Or is that where you sort of step in and say, hey, maybe this move is overdone one way or the other? What are there option plays there, maybe to write calls, puts, things like that? Do you do anything on instant headlines like that?
So, as far as the pricing of options exploding when there's any kind of news-related announcement, that's absolutely true. But Microsoft has always had really low implied volatility. So I really don't see that impact on Microsoft anywhere near as much as you'd see it on something like GameStop, which is actually why I usually like trading it in the options market, because then you don't get as crazy of swings, but it's more relatively, trending and consistent. First of all, I 100% agree with you that I think Microsoft is a short here. And Microsoft is one of my, top stocks in my long-term portfolio. But this thing is a short. I think you can definitely write calls on it. Looking at the options, the one reason why I don't usually write calls on Microsoft is because the options aren't that juicy. Right here, it's actually not bad. If you go out 2 weeks into the January 17th option series, normally, if I was going to sell calls on something like this, I would go to at least Delta 20 or maybe Delta 34. So that's going to bring in about $350 to, let's see, about $200 to $350 per contract. So, you just have to decide if that's something that's within your risk parameters. But I think Microsoft's going to 250. I think it's in a downtrend. The news today definitely didn't help. One of the main reasons why I love Microsoft is because the earnings are always so consistent. So I like that you're trading it to the short side.
Oh, why, thank you. Yeah, we just took a nice little profit there. At some point it gets too overextended, right? So, all right, Danielle, VP of Options Trading at Simpler Trading. Any last minute advice for any of our listeners right now about the current market conditions or anything if they were looking to trade some options? If you could give one maybe idea right now, what would be your top without spoiling it for everybody else? But what's one idea maybe that our traders can look at here before we see you next Thursday?
Well, what I'm primarily looking to do right now is I want to short some of the relative weakness areas that have rallied. So right now, XLC, that's been one of the weakest areas of the market. So I'm eyeing the different tickers within XLC, Facebook in particular. It's up pretty big today, which gives you a great entry point if you're trying to get short, because everything's been so low. It's been really hard to get in. So looking at something like Facebook on a rally today, if I could sell some calls up at about 200, even if it got a little higher up to about 210, that would be a really nice spot with all of this overhead resistance.
Danielle Shea, VP of Operations at Simpler Trading. Thank you so much for coming on. We definitely look forward to it. You're my favorite guest, and I think you're a lot of our viewers' favorite guests as well. They can find you on Twitter. Thank you so much, Danielle. Have a fantastic rest of your week, and have a great weekend.
Thank you. You too.
Ciao. That was pretty good. I didn't want to.
Loving it, by the way. Like, that's the other thing.
Oh yeah, the chat's loving everything right now, and they should be loving this. Spin it. Money. I basically just graduated everyone behind us. I went by there as I went and got a coffee here. Cheers to everybody else. I was like, everybody should be shorting Microsoft right there. Shout out to Catherine who did it as well. And there goes Microsoft. We like it so much. Look at this. We got out there, like as we were just about to talk to Danielle, we got out. So there it is, right? Out. We took a piece out there at 06. It went back up, and I was like, you know, we take that short again. The circus is back, baby. And there's another out for us right there. About $1 worth of a victory. We're 80 cents in the money right now on Softy. And you know what? Because this trade is just working out so darn well, I don't know, I'm debating right now this 150 break. It got as low as 150.06 here for these guys. So I don't know. I still like the 150 break, but maybe not as much as I did before here because we've banked a lot here, obviously, on this Softy trade. As now it's coming back up, but a nice little take there on Microsoft. The market definitely had its dip down as expected. This is what we call it, man. We wanted to go short. We thought this was going to dip down a little bit there. It did that. We took advantage. We got out of the majority of our Microsoft. Now it's starting to head back up to the upside, possibly reloading again, but I'm not going to stamp the reload until I see the action up northbound. But there it is, Microsoft. We have a little piece left. Let's just take out one now because we're at the fifth. Whoops, I put this wrong price. There we go, just punch out. We're at the 50 period right there. We'll take out another little small piece now, and we are still holding 20% because of the reload, I'm not sure, but 20% or so of what's left on this trade. Microsoft topping it off, man, stacking the cash at the end of the day.
Yeah, remember what happened in the futures there. We get that 416 level on the SPY. If you're looking at the ES, it's 4160. It just depends on what vehicle you're watching here. So it did make that pullback off the multi-day high. We're showing you the 15-minute. This is what it looks like on the 3. Pull back about $1.50, so you're going to see a lot of names having followed suit. I chose NEO because Tesla was rolling over. That got to first level, still looking for that second level. And as long as that high holds, you're shorting in front of resistance. It's like when we came on at 2 o'clock, you know, you're either holding on to longs deep in the money, or when the market got to these highs and everything's on resistance, as a day trader, you're scalping off those tops. Now, I didn't get GME the third time through. Well, sorry, check that. Like, what's that? 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I didn't get it the third time. Didn't get it the fourth or fifth time through off this 135 level. But the sixth time, is that still a charm? So I just shorted 134, which has been a good price for me, obviously, but I did not take it the last time here when it gave you $2. I did take it now. At some point, this really could take out this 135. And as I've sort of been pointing out, like if we do get through that, you've got 140 here, you got 145, you got 150. You do have some upside levels here. And GameStop is a bit different. The market does not have to break out for GameStop to go. You're probably having to take out that level on the ES or doing it simultaneously for Apple to get going to the upside, for Softy to break through. But GameStop can definitely do it on its own here. So you have to watch out. I'm always going to have a hard stop when it comes to GameStop. Like, there's no area stops. Like, there you go. Like, it just broke. My hands weren't even on the keyboard. And you'll see, like, my stop just hit, and now it has a chance to break. I want to see some follow through here because it's got a bit of a spread. The last time when it took out that 120 in the morning, I was able to sort of wait it out by a couple of beats and then get that long trade without actually having to jump into it automatically. So I was able to get in. It's in the 3-minute chart, so it is in the same candle, but I did wait like a minute or two before I got in, and essentially got the same price that I would have stopped out at. So I don't want to just jump into the long. I want to make sure that we're holding a bid here and then see if I can get that follow through, which could come to 140. I think that's your next target.
I saw right before we went on with Danielle, I think it was you, if Rusty, if you're watching there, I do remember that I was supposed to send you a shirt. So let me know not to throw anybody under the bus, but I guess it never got sent, so I can't speak to the person that probably should have sent it to you. But right now, if you do message me again, I was just in my chat, and honestly, I can't find it. Like, I'm literally in my chat scrolling through right now, and I don't know if you go under a different alias or whatever, but send it to me. Let me know.
So the overhead that we're looking at, this 41.6 that we're sitting at, and how big it is. Like, in the grand scheme of things, this is a pretty big price area anyways, between 35 and 75. The band that we're in terms of a resistance level. But then when you zoom in, like, you can see this is just that morning high that it's trying to get to. So you had a pullback, got 10 points, and then right back into this high. So we're in a consolidation range, which definitely means usually you want to be scalping at least something out, right? Like, it's that type of a trade where you should probably be thinking about scalping some profits out. That GameStop, it's now looking like it does. The volume's okay, but it's actually holding a bit of a bid here above 135. So I think I can still maybe get into this one above the
It was right here. That's 910. So we bounced off 910 the last 2 days. So that's why if we go over to the minute chart today, what I was doing here was shorting 909 or 908. I guess it was 908. And then there's my out right there at 913. So we lose that 5 cents for sure. But then once that broke, we just went double. It's hard to see. I guess you can't really see. Oh, there it is. So we went double. Whoops. We went double longs right there at 14 and 15 and got them all, most of them out at 20. And again, we had more shares there because we're kind of upset. Remember, I'm too impulsive. Don't trade with me. And there we go, 915, 916, a little out there at 21, out at 24, out at 29. And again, remember, we're taking more shares. So this is what we're doing. And then we held it. We went out for a walk. Shout out to Nelson, one of our viewers there. We went out for a walk with his daughters here, kind of like interning for us from a university down there in the South, in the States and the South. Boston, so that's not too
Everything's
South.
the South.
That's what I was going to say, so I don't want people to think and we went out, showed her some City Hall, took her around, did a little bit of that. But anyways, we missed that top. I went to God out anyways. Then all of a sudden we come back, we sit down, and it breaks that 930 shelf there. So we just got out. So that's the Palantir trade that we are in. And then Square was actually not bad today. We got Square on some of that Apple talk. We averaged in there. It actually went back up, and then we just took a little bit of a hit on that last little bit as we broke back through 87. So if you're seeing some Square trading there, it wasn't bad. I mean, that's an 88 break, and that's an 89 out, so that's $1. But then we got back in at around 87.90, got out at 87.50, then another dump. So we're actually flat on Square today. That kind of sucks. Wish we had a little bit more cash to blow through on that name. That Facebook call, I apologize if are you in this? No, you're not. You're in Neo short, so that's probably just as good.
Not as good as Facebook would have been.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, we were short. Meta, yeah. Well, whatever. It's still, I don't even care when this thing's change. When it changes to Meta, I think we'll naturally call it Meta, but whatever. It's still Facebook to me. Yeah, that's short again. I mean, look, we have the Microsoft banger on, so that's fine. But this would have been even better, man. 201, we hit it once, we hit it twice, we hit it 3 times, sold down there to 199 and change. Might be time to pick this up, but you're going to notice we've bounced off this area a couple times now. So I don't know. If this market fails, I know I want Apple. We're already into Softy, and I'm still long Ford as well. So I got 2 positions, short Softy, long Ford. Crypto's doing okay today. Bitcoin just hovering around 30.
Yeah, I'm just sitting in the Neo trade. Obviously, Facebook would have been good to get back into, but it is what it is. Like, it took out that high. I didn't jump back to it. I saw Tesla going down. That's why I like the Neo move. We only got one leg of that out, but I had the futures up here because I was talking about the SPY, but I did want to show sort of the overhead that we're looking at, this 41.6 that we're sitting at, and how big it is. Like, in the grand scheme of things, this is a pretty big price area anyways, between 35 and 75, the band that we're in terms of a resistance level. But then when you zoom in, like, you can see this is just that morning high that it's trying to get to. So you had a pullback, got 10 points, and then right back into this high. So we're in a consolidation range, which definitely means usually you want to be scalping at least something out, right? Like, it's that type of a trade where you should probably be thinking about scalping some profits out. That GameStop, it's now looking like it does. The volume's okay, but it's actually holding a bit of a bid here above 135. So I think I can still maybe get into this one above that price. I just didn't want to have it as an automatic, hey, let's just take the break. and then all of a sudden it makes a wick top, and it's like, what am I doing with it? But now you are holding a bid above that 135. So I just grabbed some shares here alongside. I figured it would probably do this because the volume wasn't that big, and there was no need to be in it, but it didn't absolutely flush when it was going back and forth there. And usually you can get that same price if you're just a little bit patient with this. So I am now in this. I still think there's room to go to that 140-ish area, maybe 138, 139 as well. But it is running out of time with 45 minutes to go. I'll have to make a decision on it. If we haven't really rallied to at least 36, 37 in the next 10 minutes or so, then this one could be done. And then you look at, as it starts to pull back right now, you look at AMC, which is the other name that I'm monitoring. That's way weaker, much weaker, I should say, way weaker. It's much weaker, relatively speaking, but it's holding up from that 13 breakout price. So if you're trading this instead of GameStop, it broke out 13. It's got 13 support. That's been holding. So if GameStop goes, then longs off of 13 look pretty good on AMC. And if the market goes, maybe they both just work out and nothing even matters here. But for now, I'm just in that 135. I just wanted to be patient with it before we jump too early. And if we do get a big enough rally in the market, I still do like some short levels on Tesla, but it's got to be 790 or 800. If we get a really, really big push, I think we'd have a shot at it. But Tesla, it fell so far that I had to go over to NEO because that was the only game in town.
Yeah, just messaging Trader Pratt here a little bit.
What's he saying?
Oh no, we're talking about some bets already. So first
NBA.
point score and things like that.